Hi. It's definitely been a while. I have not uploaded in all of December. I actually filmed a video. My name is Kaysa. I'm online, and today we're going to be just talking about the direction I kind of want to go towards. But it's definitely been a while. I acknowledge that for myself. Even Thomas over there was probably wondering if I was ever going to come back to it, but I want to get into that a little bit since it's a new year, 11 days into the new year. I think my major issue is that I often get stuck in my head, have a lot of goals, and then end up losing the vision, working my way towards those goals. Full transparency, I do have ADHD and I do work a full-time job. So I have many goals and many ambitions that I'm working on, but the two things that I tend to not have a lot of is time. I am now in the process of evaluating how I go about achieving my goals to make it more efficient. It's one of those things. I'm not saying all my goals are not capable of being reached. However, I have to be honest and realistic. For example, I'm currently trying a medication, something that I didn't really want to do for most of the time that I have had ADHD as a full diagnosis, which isn't really a long time, but I've decided that's probably something I need to do if I want to work towards my goals. It's not like it's a stimulant or anything. I live in PA, so PA doesn't give the prescription for stimulants. There's one, company that I'm working with, psychiatrist, the company that he works for, he can't just prescribe that. We're starting out with something that helps with my serotonin levels. I didn't realize how much I needed that. And it's just something that opens your eyes to what it means to feel better, right? I will be honest enough to say, yes, I've struggled in the past, and not just the past, but like I guess you could say a lot of ways my whole life. I only got diagnosed with ADHD very recently, the past couple of months, and started going to therapy. It's never been to the extent, at least that's what I thought, of issues blocking me from getting to my goals. I think it's because I'm one of those people who take pride in how self aware and self evaluating I am. But through therapy and understanding myself, it is not that I actually was understanding of the conditions that I was dealing with. Not to say that I was in some crippling deficit hole. I'm not suffering by any means, but to notice that there are blockers in my life or obstacles or perceptions that have gotten in my way of accomplishing my goals and how I would put myself down for not getting past those. It really put it into perspective. I just needed a little bit of help rather than shaming myself internally all the time and beating myself down for not doing certain things, which in turn stopped my progress overall. So moving forward, that's one thing that I'm going to be working on. Essentially getting out of the mindset of having to fix myself and just focus on the mindset of improving and adding on to myself, expanding myself in the proper channels, which also means doing it more efficiently. In a lot of ways, I also would do things in a way that was always going to end up stressing me out or taking a long time. There's nothing wrong with taking shortcuts as long as it makes things efficient. This is really relating to the way I approach my goals, like going to the gym, editing videos, or any of the other things I'm trying to work on because I have projects and ideas. Instead of trying to force my self to sit down and write and get all the thoughts and ideas out, I should carry around a notebook or make notes in my notes app. And when I get into the writing app, I use Obsidian. I should have an outline. I need that guidance to put the information where it needs to be as placeholders. I need labels. I need to take the time now in making systems for myself so I can actually function a little bit better. AKA, I am a person with ADHD who needs structure, but I hate the idea of being structured. So that is the ongoing battle that I'm dealing with, is creating structure and systems for myself that will actually help me with my goals rather than trying to throw myself into it and hoping that in the moment I don't immediately get turned off by the stuff that I'm doing. The other half of it is I will try to force myself and make myself feel bad for not accomplishing as much as I wanted to accomplish. In the end, I don't think I need to keep forcing myself to do things, because if I've noticed anything throughout my life, I don't respond to stress well. I don't think many people do. I think we are living in a time where stress levels are a lot, because the tasks we do aren't necessarily killing us, but the way we approach them is making it more difficult in a lot of ways. All of this to say is, approaching 2025, I'm going to be really trying to focus on coordinating myself so that I can be successful, but I'm also not going to essentially make it my mission to be the most, productive, proactive, the most bestest at all times at achieving my ambitions. I'm trying to take that burden I keep putting on my shoulders and just let life be life and just let it flow as it is. Because I'm always so hard on myself for everything that I do that oftentimes I don't actually end up doing anything. The other half is just figuring out the type of content and creation that I want to make. I think a lot of times, because I get so creative in my head, I have so many ideas that sometimes I don't know how to allocate them in the right direction. Sometimes I feel like doing one method would make it too long, so I'll try to take shortcuts in the wrong ways, because sometimes shortcuts can be wrong, or at least not as, does not hold as much quality as it should. So for my YouTube channel, the hope is that yes, I do want to do entertaining commentary for video games and shows. I do want to talk about that, but I need to do it in a way that works for me. The only thing that truly works for me is something like this, just talking and then adding stuff. I experimented with that before too. Scripts and things like that just don't seem to work. I don't think a podcast is going to work for me. I really don't want to edit a lot or talk a lot, but I think just talking to a camera has been the most therapeutic thing for me. I am also trying to do a daily journal. I really want to make this a year of actually scrutinizing and tracking myself, not so I can keep taking myself apart, but so I can, for the first time, actually track real progress and development within myself, because I always have this belief that I'm always behind and never actually making progress. I want this year to be about tracking progress. For future YouTube channels, I want to not only be a talking piece, but I don't want it to just be this, me just talking about my feelings and everything. I mean, that's going to be there. But I want it to be about, let's say in 1 week, a whole bunch of things, and then whatever I come with is just going to be the topics of that video. I don't want to focus on any one thing. I need to stop trying to force myself into some sort of structure that wouldn't make sense for me, but give myself a structure that follows the flow that works for me, which always feels like all over the place. So I think that is going to be the best route for myself. I always get stuck in my head, and I need to allow myself to be human. I think a lot of us need to do that. We hold ourselves to a standard where we lose our own humanity, where we must be perfect simply because we know we could have done better. But we also don't seem to understand, hey, you did what you could today. This is what you were capable of today. Tomorrow is different. Yesterday was different. The conditions are different. Sometimes you only get this much done, and sometimes you'll get way more done. Sometimes you won't be able to get anything done, and that doesn't change the value of who you are, no matter how much you want to achieve your goals by the end of the day. When you need to hustle, you need to hustle. I come from that household, but at the same time, there's something about trying to force yourself to do things that, in my greatest fear, will make me never want to do anything anymore. So that's the one true thing I'm trying to avoid, is that I have all these goals and I know they are achievable, but I just would hate to fall out of love pursuing these goals. Getting too stressed out, doubtful, and depressed, no matter how much serotonin and therapy. I'm only one person, and if I keep putting all these burdens on myself, I'm just going to bury myself rather than actually get anywhere. So, yeah, that's my intro into January of 2025. I hope to get a couple of other videos out. Please let me know your thoughts down below if you feel the same way in any way, if you struggle with ADHD or any other sort of things. And if any of the things that I said make any sense as well or relate to you, I'm going to make a variety of content, sure. But primarily, I'm going to start focusing on just how I compilate my life, I guess. We'll figure it out. Oh, comment, like, subscribe to.